Good morning and welcome to Smashi Business. I'm Lubna Hamdan and my co-host today is wonderful, and that's literally what her name translates into. Rawa Harati, Dr. Rawa Harati. What a beautiful name that is.
Thank you.
She is an economist and the founder and CEO of KINS Consultancy, which provides advisory services for leaders in the intersection of economics, and geopolitics. Lovely to have you with us.
Thank you for having me, Lubna.
You bring with you a wealth of knowledge, but also style.
Thank you.
And you're wearing, because this is a bit of a chat show in the beginning before we dive into the news, and we're really going to dive into it today. We're going to talk about the Baltimore Bridge incident, how it's going to affect global supply chain. UAE salaries are expected to outpace the growth of living costs in 2024. That's according to a PwC report. And Saudi is leading the region with the highest number of IPOs. What does that mean for the Saudi economy and the regional landscape, where overall the number of IPOs have dropped? But let me go back to the style. So you are wearing a shirt that you borrowed from your mom's closet.
Oh, yeah.
What does your mom do?
My mom did an amazing job of raising 5 kids.
Same here. You're also 5. You're also 5.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm the eldest, so carrying Rawa as a name, you can imagine the pressure.
The pressure.
Yeah.
You were like my older sister always jokes that she was the lab rat and that my parents experimented all the parenting styles on her. How are you doing, Rawa?
Struggling a little bit.
Blink twice if you need help. Are you okay?
We're good. I'm good. Alhamdulillah. Grateful to have her.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, Rawa, let's dive into the news. I was talking to Richard, who's usually my co-host on the show, and the CEO of Augustus Media, of course, our company. We were talking yesterday, and he was like, "You know what? All of these podcasts, I was going through them, and I just saw the Baltimore Bridge incident, and I said, like, I don't care about the Baltimore Bridge incidents. Like, who cares about Baltimore? But then, obviously, yes, people do care because of the global supply chain." Not just your Amazon package will be delayed, everything from car parts, India is going to be massively affected by this. Let me just give people a little bit of information about this, right? So Baltimore is the 9th busiest port in the US and the busiest for car shipments. They handle at least 750,000 vehicles. They handled 750,000 vehicles in 2023. Motor vehicles and parts accounted for 42% of all Baltimore port imports. A lot of people don't know that. This is just to give people an idea of how important this is. So, so it collapsed. The bridge collapsed. And all hell broke loose. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So, Lubna, a terrible accident. Just to add to what you said, it's also actually the second largest port for coal exports actually in the US, which is very important because it impacts the economy directly.
Absolutely.
And you have big retailers like IKEA, Home Depot, etc., who bring in their goods into that port and then disseminated in the US. So it is important, and they're going to find alternative. They're going to send or redirect these ships to New York, to New Jersey, Virginia. The issue or the problem they're also facing is how the infrastructure is ready in terms of the rail infrastructure to resend these products.
Right.
Now, all this, of course, it's going to affect at least for a certain period of time, the economy, at least the local economy. Let's start there. But let's not forget, we're talking about the biggest economy in the world.
Yeah.
It's number 1.
Yeah.
So whatever happens in the United States, it's going to have ripple effects around the world. And that takes us, if we go back to what happens in the Red Sea, right?
Absolutely.
With the Houthis attacks on the ships. This is shaping completely the landscape. We look at Egypt has been suffering extremely, but because of Suez Canal, of course, because the revenue is like $25 million a day from there, but also other countries, because you have, the delays, the longer routes for the shipments, you have higher insurance, right? And the delays in terms of the timing to get your goods or your packages. All that is making countries rethink their strategies in terms of who to deal with, where to get their raw material from, how to diversify. So if anything unexpected happened, like this, incident,
yes.
then they have other options and they can deal with it.
Absolutely.
In a way.
Does this provide in any way an opportunity for the UAE, for Saudi, even for Egypt?
No, I mean Egypt. If we start with Egypt, Egypt has benefited recently with a lot of help coming from the IMF, the World Bank, the EU recently, the investments that happened through the UAE as well in terms of this big project, $35 billion. One of the reasons why the IMF even went from $3 billion to $8 billion in terms of their loan to Egypt was because of what's happening in the Suez Canal, and obviously because also Egypt was making the changes and the reforms in terms of its currency rate and interest rate, etc., that are necessary for these loans to take place. People can benefit from this, but I think inflation is what we always need to worry about when we talk about any kind of disruption in the supply chain, the global supply chain, of course.
Okay, explain that to us. Most people might not put two and two together, especially your ordinary, let's say, the ordinary listener, the ordinary, viewer of the show.
Sure, happy to. Let's go back to the pandemic. I think if we look at any article, if you open any newsletter or hear anyone talking about economics these days, inflation is the number one worry for policymakers, for people and for businesses as well.
Absolutely.
So the way, if we go back to the pandemic, which hit us all, we all went through it. What happened is, on one side, you had this disruption in the global supply chain because countries and manufacturers and people didn't go to their work, so there was a whole shutdown with the lockdown of the economy.
That was a very weird and strange time. But I'll tell you one positive thing out of it. The introverts were happy. The introverts were happy. We were home. We were chilling. Yeah.
So being home, chilling, it meant you are not going to buy. You're not going to travel. You're not going to spend money on traveling, right? Yeah. You're not going to get new suits for work. You're probably not going to buy a new car because everyone was staying at home.
Did you save during the pandemic?
I did save during the pandemic. I'm one of those.
I didn't. Imagine that. That's how bad I am at finances. Okay, let's go back to your point.
On one side, you have this disruption in the global supply chain. So the supply got ahead, right?
Right.
On the other hand, we saw governments, of course, in the advanced economies, putting a lot of stimulus packages, inserting money in the economies to help businesses and people through these tough times.
Yes.
So there was, and we were saving, everyone was saving, we were not traveling. So on the other hand, you had a bigger, a lot of extra or excessive money supply with the people.
Yes.
So what happened? When things opened up and you had people were back going to work, we want to buy new suits, we want to travel, we have a demand, we have the money for it, but the supply was hit. So the demand was more than the supply. With these gaps, this is why prices went up and we had inflation. This is the
Economics
core of
101. Yeah.
This is what happened and why inflation was, in most of the countries in the world, extremely high. We saw numbers like 9% in the United States, which was extremely high.
Yeah.
And since then, the Fed, they met last week. Everyone is waiting to see if the Fed is going to cut the interest rate or not. Because high interest rate, what does it mean? It tries to absorb this excessive money from the market, but at the same time, the borrowing costs are high. It means you cannot, it's very expensive to go for a business if I want to expand in the UAE, let's say. The interest rates are high. It means it's very expensive for me to take a loan.
Absolutely.
What does that mean? It means businesses are going to expand less. It's going to calm down.
Yeah.
The economy is going to get calmed down.
I mean, look, according to Hassan Sajwani, Dubai's economy, I want to take a little bit back to the region. I was at an iftar hosted by him at his house yesterday for select media. It was lovely, beautiful. Thank you, Hassan Sajwani. But he had mentioned that Dubai is only going to get more expensive. And he said that not negatively, he said it positively because he said, you know, it's now competing on a global level. It's no longer just Dubai where you go to vacation. No, it's a serious, you know, everyone is coming here to do business. And rightly so because they're, you know, Dubai has been announcing a lot of incentives, you know, everyone from the Russian to the Chinese. Now that the Russian market is kind of quieting down a little bit, the Chinese are coming back. And to link that to our next story, UAE salaries are expected to outpace the growth of living costs in 2024. So that's according to a PwC report. They forecast a 4% salary rise, surpassing the 2.3% inflation rate, according to Mercer's Middle East Total Remuneration Survey. Energy company employees can expect a 4.3% salary increase. This is Mercer, sorry, not PwC. PwC is the next story. Energy company employees can expect a 4.3% salary increase. Those in consumer goods, life sciences, and tech sectors are likely to see raises averaging around 4%. We can go on and on about this, but what are your thoughts on this as an economist? What does this mean?
So this is normal. When we have an economy that is actually growing, it's doing well. Everyone wants to be here, as you rightfully said. We have the ease of doing business. You have the best services. You have safety. It's attractive. Everyone wants to be here. Now, the businesses will have to adapt at certain point and start increasing wages because you don't also want to lose the talent. Don't forget, here Dubai attracts
I hope my boss
the best
is listening.
Yes.
I hope he's.
Let me know.
Kidding, I'm kidding.
I can make a whole case.
Still on
him.
probation.
I can make a whole case. But yes, talent is extremely important.
Yeah.
So if you want not to lose talent, you have to, at a certain point, adjust wages so you keep having the best of the best coming to you and working in your organization.
Absolutely.
So that's normal.
Absolutely. Actually, you know what? I hope other media companies are listening, not my boss, because, and I really do need to mention this because I was at an iftar yesterday and one of the biggest broadcasters, global broadcasters, apparently pay their staff, who some are senior, pay them only less than $3,000, and I just converted to $3,000. I mean, wages in the media industry are, you know, infamously, you know, horrible.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So I think the media companies really need to look at this report and pay the reporters better. You know, if you want, a lot of people complain about bad journalism. Well, if you want good journalism, you have to pay journalists.
Yeah, so people
can
actually invest all their time doing their job instead of doing something else.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Anyways, got a little feisty and emotional there. So Saudi Arabia is leading the region in IPOs. That's according to PwC's Transact Middle East report. So they had 36 offerings, though it was down from 41 last year. The largest IPO was ADES Holding at $1.2 billion, followed by SAL Saudi Logistics at $700 million. Interesting, this report about Saudi. It also highlighted Aramco's potential secondary share sale. Always exciting when talking about Aramco. It's aiming to raise up to $20 billion. The state-owned oil company is in talks with top investment banks to lead the sale. In Q1 this year, the domestic IPO market remains robust. MBC also debuted on Tadawul in January with a $222 million IPO. Just to give people some context about this, that's why we're mentioning all of these numbers. Really exciting times for Saudi. What does this mean for the regional market, Rawa? And I mean, regionally, we have seen the number of IPOs drop In Dubai, there are some exciting talks. Some people are even saying Telegram, who are looking to list next year, hopefully might list here in Dubai, might list in Abu Dhabi. They've kind of claimed, Pavel Durov as their own. There is that famous picture outside of the Museum of the Future. So what does this mean, this
Sure.
growth in IPOs?
So IPO, when we see more companies are getting listed, it's usually reflect very positive sentiment in terms of the economic conditions and future prospects of the region. So this is extremely positive. And as you mentioned, now it is a quite interesting time for Saudi Arabia, but just in general, the region after COVID, after the pandemic, we've all seen the projections, the numbers. It's been doing quite well. And that's not by chance. That's because there's been, amazing leadership in these countries and the diversification efforts that are taking place.
You know what? Because they also remained open during the pandemic, right? And everyone was coming to Dubai. And Dubai was under heat, was under fire, received a lot of backlash, I would say, from the typical, English papers and websites that love to hate on Dubai, The Guardian, Daily Mail, etc. But someone told me, and now Dubai is the one laughing because it's doing really well, while the rest of the world not so much. But someone told me yesterday. He said, you can either be, the 106 millionth person in a queue following everyone else, or you can create your own queue. And that's what Dubai and Saudi are both doing.
Absolutely. And with these IPOs, it also reflects, Lubna, that there's maturity now on the financial markets here. I think this is great. I think what is happening in the region is really interesting. The FDIs, the capital that is coming here, the interest. Whenever I travel quite much, and whenever people know that I'm based in Dubai, they all want to know more. They all want to be here. They all want to visit, and it wasn't always the case. I think the perception also has changed a lot worldwide, and for great reasons, because we're doing really great here. And
absolutely, it's no longer, as I mentioned before, no longer just the place you want to come party, the place you want to come vacation. No, people want to live here. People want to do business here. The business here is really exciting to do. I mean, here in Saudi, it's really, and I always say, business is kind of like politics in that, you have to play the game, and even when you close a deal, and it's just that adrenaline rush of.
I'll tell you something maybe personal. When I left Lebanon 3 years ago, actually, and it was my first time in Dubai when I came out. There was, a big crisis in Lebanon. Things were not going well, and I came to Dubai, and I think in less than 3 months, my whole life changed. Everything, the security, the stability,
honestly.
And honestly, I wouldn't even be doing KINS. I couldn't have done any of that had this country not, welcomed me and gave me everything to be able to, to give my best and to create this new company and to create value, basically.
That's incredible. I don't know why I'm starting to tear up a little bit, just because I also, I was born here, and to see it really, I was born in Ras Al Khaimah, and to see it really become this city that everyone, all eyes are on Dubai right now, and to hear that, you came from a place that is your home, but you were not able to find that opportunity there, and Dubai is providing that. It really has provided that for a lot of people. So that's beautiful, Rawa. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It's been absolutely brilliant, and
pleasure.
hopefully we'll see you as our co-host next Thursday.
Inshallah.
Thank you, guys. Stay tuned. We've got 2 Hollywood producers. They've opened a consultancy in Dubai. Why? We're going to find out. But what a nice transition into this. Dubai. It's all about Dubai. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Smashi Business. I have with me Alia Lanius and Joseph Lanius. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Two Hollywood producers who have come to Dubai. And we love to see that. You've opened a consulting company here. Why? Why did you guys come to Dubai? And tell me a little bit about what you did in Hollywood as well. I know you were involved in some of my favorite movies like To the Bone. What a fantastic movie. But tell us exactly what you guys do, basically.
Sure. Well, no, we have our own law firm. Convergence Media Law is one of the primary focuses. And then we mainly executive produce films. So what we do is we help our clients focus on the business strategy for financing their films that hopefully will result in a successful film all the way around, from creative to the finance and economics and the investors that are a part of it, most importantly.
Fascinating. So basically you guys lead a very exciting life. Never a dull moment, yeah?
Never a dull moment, for sure.
What attracted you to come to Dubai?
Well, first of all, personally, I actually have family that's been here for 40 years in Abu Dhabi, in the region.
Okay.
And, I came back, my first time to the UAE was in 2012, an amazing experience to spend time there, to come to Dubai, to see it, and, to see the changes that it's made over, the last, not only to hear from my family the changes of the past 40 years, but to even see it in the past, 10, 15 years. Incredible. I think that one of the things that for me, it's also a desire to match also my multicultural background, being American, being part Arab, as well as part being even Latin, having this multicultural background. I want to see that flourish. And I want to I continue to want to bring stories to life that bridge our communities and showcase us in a way that we should be. And I feel that the region here has such a potential to do that. I'm very excited. I feel like your previous guest spoke, the safety, the culture, the way that you're treated, the way that you have your experience here. Yes, absolutely, 100%. Sign me up. I was like, let's do this and let's make that move.
You know what? I don't know if you guys have watched this movie or heard of this movie. It made waves when it launched here in Dubai. It's called The City of Life by the director Mustafa. I forgot his last name. Sorry, Mustafa Ali, I believe. But what a fantastic film that was. And there are really so many stories to be told here from the region. And we're seeing more of that on Netflix. We're seeing a lot of streaming services here. Are you actually working on anything right now that you can share with us?
Well, I mean, we have clients that are here doing films that and actually they arrived this evening.
Nice.
And so shout out to Spark House Media, who were actually the producers of To the Bone. So
they're moving here to produce this film Dakar. It's that's a story about the race.
Okay.
So now it's in early development.
Yes, so we can't say too much,
but
we are excited about that.
Very excited about that one, particularly here in the region. And that's what we're looking to do is also is connect with producers, that want to, do films that are very much commercially wide and bring, some of the Western influence over here and just help even more, obviously the film scene is very developed here, but it even expanded and broadened it even more. And,
I mean, you don't have to be that polite, some of the some of the Khaliji shows, some of the Arab shows are not that great. You know what I mean? In that regard, like we'll gladly admit that we could use some help when it comes to production.
Yeah, and that's what we want to do. It's I'll admit, Hollywood is all about give, take, and it's like what we want to do is give back and bring more to the region here and expand and also help educate people, like you said, so they can even do better local productions, but also think about a global scale.
And to add to that just really quickly, I mean, he's done since 2017, our firm has worked on over 40 film projects. That's just since 2017. That's considering a pandemic. That's considering a strike that we had that largely shut down our, industry. And so, being involved, we just got back from a trip with Switzerland where we were talking to them about the government's incentives. So we want to position ourselves to continue to work not just with the community, but also the government officials and the people that can help us also broaden this and make it more attractive for people to come as well.
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting you mentioned Abu Dhabi because Abu Dhabi has been really the capital for film. Dubai has been kind of, you know, the city of life. You know, again, a pun about the movie, but really it is, you know, where everything is happening in terms of, you know, be it partying, be it business. But Abu Dhabi has really, you know, invested in a lot of productions. It has Imagination. It has, you know, a lot of several other projects. Of course, we saw the famous Fast and Furious movies being, you know, partly filmed here. What potential do you see in Abu Dhabi?
I mean, there's obviously they're, as you say, they're very excited to put out this effort. They're ambitious in that sense, and I really love that. And I think as a result of that, the potential is there's no ceiling. You know, I mean, to some extent, being in LA, you know, people will get upset when your traffic is a little bit heavier because there's a production and Julia Roberts or some actress is in the way. But at the same token, what it does and the potential for the local economy, for the people that, you know, sell sandwiches, for the people that have services there, it's incredible how it brings life and opportunity to the region. And I think that it is a perfect place to continue to grow and be as inviting as it can be and work with, you know, people who want to come and make it happen. I think that there's no ceiling on it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see what you guys are up to next. I don't know if you can give us any scoops, any exclusives. I'm gonna try one more time.
Sure, no. One of the projects we're working on now that I'm really excited about, it's filming in New Mexico in the States, but it's a Dave Bautista action film, so that's underway.
Very exciting.
What else do we
just came from South by Southwest, where a Nicolas Cage film that he was part of premiered called Arcadian. And, you know, so...
Glad to see him back. He was going through a crisis. But he, you know, he is in one way or another all of us, you know.
Yes.
We have all at some point been Nicolas Cage in those leopard pants, you know, trousers.
Exactly. Yeah, that one's coming out in April. So it's very exciting.
Very cool.
Excited as that as well.
Cool, cool. Any thoughts about the? Actually, you know what? Before I ask you guys about the streaming services, what is the sentiment in the U.S.? Because in the UK, people love to kind of hate a little bit on Dubai and Abu Dhabi and now Saudi. What is the sentiment in LA, especially when you tell people that you know, are coming to Dubai and Abu Dhabi to work on film productions?
It's mixed. It's mixed. I want to say there's people that are excited. They're kind of in admiration, and then there's still a level of ignorance, if I might say. But at the same token, you know, people are shocked and kind of like, you know, and I think that's part of our job to show and to tell them, like, this is definitely an amazing opportunity. But what were you going to say?
But I was just saying, those who know, when, you know, they know that there's a great opportunity here. You know, like she said, there are people that are trepidatious because of they're not being educated enough or understanding. But overall, I mean, I feel, you know, I wouldn't be here otherwise, right? It's not the easiest plane ride. So, and having a busy lifestyle. But, you know, we were here in November and then excited to come back again and excited, you know, like I said, we have one of our clients is already moving here to set up shop, and we're looking to do that and expand even more. So you know, like those who know, they know.
Yeah, I love that. Very, very well put. And I love the fact that you're a couple as well. You're husband and wife. It's not easy working together. I can only assume. But Joseph, you're a very wise man, and I would love the men listening to this podcast to take some advice from Joseph. As soon as he entered the studio before the cameras were on, I said, please choose whichever side you'd like to sit on, and he said, actually, I'm going to let Alia choose. So yeah, be gentlemen, be gentlemen. That's it. We like to add a little personal, you know, lifestyle spice to this show. So. Kudos to Joseph.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I'm from Texas originally, so Southern hospitality runs through the veins, and my mother taught me well on that aspect. And there, obviously other aspects of Texas, not so much, but that is one I keep dear to my heart and try to always follow. But honestly, I love working with her. She helps keep me grounded at times where I want to be the wild man and go out, and she harnesses me back in. And I think it's a good yin and yang, and it's all about keeping it in the family.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and then I think as a woman, it's important to, you can share space and give respect, and yet assert yourself in a way that is also respectful, so that because it's a partnership. And like any business, I mean, that's the one thing, it takes a divorce for someone to understand that it's actually a legal contract, and it's a partnership, no different than any business. I wouldn't go out there and acquire a business that wasn't, and so when you have something great, you want to make it work, and keep peace and keep safe and keep it going. And when he says wild, he doesn't mean wild like going out drinking. It just sometimes, it's an exciting thing. A lot of things happen. A lot of opportunities come our way. Sure. But you know what? I'll say this: we hold tight for the right opportunities and the right people to work with. That to me is more important than anything. We're not chasing fame. I don't care about being a celebrity. We want to be the business icons, continue to be the business icons that actually help manage and create opportunity for not just ourselves, others in this world, and do some amazing things. Good people doing good things.
I love that, and I do always say, give me a business icon over a celebrity any day. Any day. What are your, coming, from the film industry, coming from Hollywood as well? What are your thoughts on the streaming services here, the local ones that you're kind of maybe perhaps still familiarizing yourselves with? We've got Shahid, we've got Disney Plus, we've got OSN Plus. There's a lot of talk about mergers and acquisitions happening right now. What are your thoughts, just generally, kind of on the streaming service industry here?
I will say I'm not as educated on the streaming service industry here. I mean, as a whole, I will say the streaming service overall has had a huge impact on the industry. It's changed the distribution platforms. It's changed the way you structure your financing and approach films. It's been good and bad. Honestly, I will feel, thankfully, it's starting to balance out a little bit more. It really affected the theater systems, as we know, right? Because it's much easier to click on the TV and pop your own popcorn and all. But I do feel, ironically enough, that is the pandemic did help that, because so many people were cooped up and they forgot how much they really enjoyed the theater experience. I mean, even my little one, that's one of my favorite things to do. I love taking her to the movies and getting the popcorn, and I mean, I'm way up to speed on all the animations, but I that's really lovely. But at the same time, the key thing it has brought for filmmakers is you have more platforms, right? It's the ability to get more films made and to get your stories out there. So that part has really helped the industry as well.
Okay.
And I do think there's room for growth. I mean, I am a little bit more familiar with some of the platforms. I watch them more. Yeah. And, I'm excited to see them expand their opportunities. And, as you said, it's great to see so many more films that I think fit the demographic and are able to go into multiple markets, meet their needs, meet their demographics needs, and, just continue to grow. But I do think there's again, when you talk about opportunity for growth, I think streaming services out here need to adapt and accept that, it's time. It's time to give people more opportunities of what they want to see. And
definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think that, platforms like Stars Play, for example, are really kind of trying to, spend more on and dedicate more talent to original content.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least, and perhaps we'll have you in again once a merger that we predict is going to happen. We'll have you in again to speak about it.
And next time we'll be able to share more. We'll be launching something.
Next time we'll have a
directly.
film here to talk
Yes.
about. That's what
that we can
want
talk
to
about
do.
more. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm expecting to be invited to the behind the scenes filming. I'm just going to put it
course,
out there.
of course.
I'm shamelessly asking to be invited to the BTS.
Guaranteed. We'll write it in the contracts.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Alia and Joseph Lanius, founders, Hollywood producers, and founders of AJL Global Consulting in Dubai. Pleasure to have you in the studio with us.
Thank
to
you
be
for
here.
having us. It was
And
great.
follow our streaming service, Smashi.tv.
Yes,
and let us know what you
yes.
think about it. And for everyone listening or watching, if you're listening and you'd like the video version, go to Smashi.tv or YouTube and follow us on Instagram as well. If you, like me, prefer a podcast, go to Anghami, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll speak to you and see you tomorrow.